All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Friday Team Call. We've got to get on the call here and push through this and get done. We're going to wrap up a little bit early. I just some logistical challenges this morning. I forgot that we have the bank hierarchy call always on the last Friday of the month, and I was not paying attention to the calendar. Kind of focused on what we've got going. So anyway. We'll try to keep this relatively short. Maybe give you a little bit of extra time here. That call starts at the top of the next hour, 11 o'clock Central, noon Eastern. So we encourage you to jump on that. That's a great call. Scott Mank, my mentor in the business, hosts that call. And so that he's going to be going over some of the higher level numbers and some of the things that have been going on in the business. So, but let's go ahead. Since we scheduled our call, we're going to run through it, share some great content with you this morning, and yeah, let's do it. We had a monster week. You guys went out and crushed it. 21 riders on the week. It's been a while. Obviously pandemic, we kind of pulled back a little bit on numbers, but man, we were coming back strong. So 21 riders, just a huge shout out to everybody. I don't care if you went out and rode one out for $100 APV. You helped the family this week, and that's pretty awesome. We helped 60 applications written for the week, just this week on this team alone. So in fact, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to give a shout out to everybody that wrote an application. I'm going to run through the names real quick, and then we'll do the top 10. We had just of the 21 riders, Jorge, I apologize, your last name. John Paul, you may have to help me with his last name.
Morchio.
I want to say Morchio. I knew that wasn't right. But anyway.
Morchio.
Diane Newman, Mark Roberts, David Moan, Lionel Anderson, Eric Sullivan, Stephanie Stubbs, Stella Dinwiddie, Jerry Points, Marcus Williams, Donna Bates, Stephen Garrity, Spencer Cuchin, Destiny O'Neill, Dale Menifee, Terry Myers, Sophia Williams, James McKeon, Andy McKinley, Jennifer Gray, John Paul Vetter, all submitted applications. And again, I don't care if it was one app for $100 or 10 apps for 10,000. That's great to see. 21 riders, 60 applications, just a hair shy of 60,000 for the week, and the week's not over. I know a lot of folks on Friday afternoon, guys. Friday's a great day to be out writing business. In fact, let's go ahead and call out last week. After the call, we had additional business submitted. Donna Bates, shout out to Donna Bates, one application for $1,326. After the Friday team call. So guys, think about that on a Friday afternoon, an extra $1,300 APV written. What kind of business can you go out and do that on a Friday afternoon? Just one afternoon. That's pretty awesome. So let's hit top 10. Top 10, we had Stephen Garrity, one application, $2,868 direct to James McKeon. Spencer Cuchin had 3 applications, $3,469 direct to myself. Destiny O'Neill, 2 applications, $3,614 direct to Stella Dinwiddie. We had Dale Menifee, 4 applications, $3,869 direct to myself. Terry Myers, 6 applications. Great job, Terry, $4,424 direct to Stella Dinwiddie. Sophia Williams, 4 applications, $4,507 direct to John Paul. Sophia moving up the leaderboards. That's awesome. Great to see. Mr. Part-Time himself, James McKeon, back in the mix of 4 applications, $4,712 direct to John Paul Vetter. Andy McKinley, 7 applications, and Andy takes app count lead for the week. Great job, Andy. 7 applications, $5,190 direct to myself. Miss Jenny Gray, 5 applications, $5,806 direct to John Paul Vetter. And number 1, no stranger to number 1, Mr. John Paul Vetter himself, 6 applications, $12,440 $349 direct to myself. Great week, everybody. That is, again, just a phenomenal week. Love seeing that kind of activity. That is a huge sign of growth. 2021, excited to see. And I know there's a lot of you, again, just getting ramped up, just getting started, that are going to be adding to those numbers, if not today, over the next, next coming weeks and months. So exciting to see that, become a part of that. That's a lot of fun. Wanted to special announcement this morning, announcement and some thoughts this morning from Mr. John Paul Vetter. Wanted to chime in on the call and highlight a couple things. So I will throw this over to him for a couple minutes.
Sure. Thanks, Chris. And good morning, everybody. Just wanted to cover a couple of things. I know we got some great content coming up here from Miss Stella Dinwiddie. And so she's going to have some great stuff for us. But definitely want to cover just two things specifically. One, as you all know, with the merger or partnership with Assura under the Quality umbrella, it was announced, this mid-year last year. Everybody's aware of the program where the Assura agents are making outbound calls directly to Symmetry clients, right? To make sales to those clients, upgraded products, additional services, things like that. Not to replace anything that we've already done, but just to add an additional layer of touch point to the client, right? And you can still contact your customers and do your normal customer, continuous customer contact. Nothing affects that whatsoever. But as busy as we are and as fast as we get going, sometimes they get lost in the shuffle, because in a traditional world where you don't have leads and you are trying to self-generate everything, every individual relationship is of course important. But maintaining those existing relationships are extremely critical to your long-term success. And that doesn't change with what we do. But to know that we have an entire team of professionals that are in a call center reaching out to our folks, representing Symmetry and us, that are doing that for us also. And we get a 40% split on the APV for the work that they're doing without us having to do anything. So again, that for the folks that are new on the call, has nothing to do with your ability to still contact your customers and get full 100% on whatever it is you do, right? But I think a lot of folks will agree with the volume of leads and new opportunities that we have every single week. As you get further down the runway, it gets even more and more difficult to be able to continually contact and maintain relationships with hundreds or then thousands of customers, right? So, it's one thing to see that on the national call and hear about somebody in some faraway distant state, that it worked for once upon a time and stuff like that. But I just wanted to share my personal feedback so far from what I've experienced personally. And so, and I've not even been here 2.5 years yet. Those of you that have been around know that. So they put me into the QMS program just in November. So I'm just 2 months-ish, a little bit, 2 months or so, give or take, into the program, right? In the month of November, they were able to reach out to one of my clients, unbeknownst to me, and I got a $433 deposit, right? And which is cool, right? It was my first one, and so which is kind of cool. Then in December, I had right at $1,000 direct deposits through QMS coverages from my customers. And then day before yesterday, I'm doing my regular, checking on pending business, and I'm trying to figure out what's, make sure everything's deposited and just managing my business like we all should do. And I see a $622.20 deposit from Fidelity and Guarantee. And I'm like, I didn't write anything with F&G, and nobody on my team did, from an override perspective, at least not recently, right? That should be getting a deposit, something, maybe some residual or something. Well, I go and research it, and lo and behold, it was 2 IULs that somebody from QMS wrote, not to one of my customers, to the customers of somebody that used to be here 2 years ago that I was mentoring, that didn't cut it, that flaked out and ran off to the next shiny object. But because those customers are in my hierarchy and that person would have received the override, but they're no longer here, that rolls up to me. So I got a $622.20 deposit day before yesterday for 2 customers in California I've never met, that I never ran the appointment, I never paid a lead for, and I never actually did policies for. And their policies are still on the books, by the way, with American Amicable. I didn't recognize the name. I was like, that's not Mike. Who? Wait. So I dug into it. It was actually somebody that's no longer with us that wrote 2 policies to a customer in California, 2019. So the point is that doesn't, you know, that alone is not going to let you retire, right? But to know that that's just extra on top of everything else that we're doing, and that continues to grow as our customer base grows, and as we get further down the runway, more and more of those touch points are going to occur. That's on top of your upfront commissions, your advances, that's on top of your bonuses, that's on top of equity appreciation rights, and that's on top of residuals or overrides. To know you've got that coming that you wouldn't have had otherwise because somebody else is doing it for you, and you get a 40% APV split, doesn't suck. It's kind of cool, right? So I just wanted to share that with you all. So as you get further down the runway, those are things you get to look forward to as it relates to just additional income, right? You know, from this opportunity. So definitely wanted to share that with the team. And then the other 2 things I definitely wanted to touch base on is I did want to, and I know the month's not over, right? We still have to the end of the day for turn in for the month of January. But 2 folks specifically, I just really wanted to take a moment to recognize and to show appreciation for, and really give a chance to let folks kind of know just how proud of them that I am, how proud of them that I am of them. And so first of all, Miss Sophia Williams is just into this a couple of months. She was, you know, part-time and really just started getting going in this, I would say, in the last month, not even 2, as far as full-time, you know, so to speak, focus. And she's already written, you know, $13,097 in APV for the month. And so definitely wanted to give a shout out to her. And I know she probably has more appointments on for the day. She is actually the wife of Mr. Marcus Williams, who's also on the team, and they're doing this as a husband and wife, you know, a team in this, and he's doing well himself. So combined, the 2 of them have already written about $20,000 for the month. You know, so again, getting better every day. And they are also in my team builder program that I've got with ZipRecruiter ads and setting first and second interviews to start to recruit and build their team. So definitely want to give a special shout out to Sophia. And Sophia, just kind of surprised, I already gave a tip the hat to the next person I'm going to talk to is next week when I host the team call. I'm going to have you on the hot seat and kind of a little panel review and kind of ask some questions for the team. And you and the next person I'm going to recognize, have you as featured guest speakers on our call next week. Okay. Awesome. Appreciate you, Sophia. The next lady is absolutely on fire. You see her name and post on the Crew app constantly. And she is just on a rampage. And this is her 2nd full month into the business. And again, plugs into me regularly, follows the program, does everything that I ask, and comes back for what's next. Miss Jenny Gray, good Lord, 31 applications for just short of $30,000 in APV for the month. $29,100 already for the month in her 2nd full month. And she wrote over $15,000 last month. Again, she's part of the builder team that I've got working, that I'm working with, where the ZipRecruiter ads is starting to recruit her agency. We actually have someone on our call today who's one of her recruits who we think has tremendous potential in this opportunity. He's actually on the call with us as well today, but definitely want to give a quick special shout out to both of those ladies and tremendous job to everybody, you know, nonetheless, but definitely Jenny and Sophia next week when I host the call, I'm going to have the 2 of you all on for a little bit of Q&A to share with the team kind of, you know, your journey, because you're relatively new here and finding success. So I think the team could benefit from that. Okay. Awesome. That's it, Chris. I'll pass it back over to you, brother. Thank you.
Awesome. Always love to highlight some people coming up through the business, and that's the exciting thing about when I look at the leaderboards, man. We've got some names that are quickly moving up, and new names kind of challenging the old guard, so to speak, and we're all happy for that. So Very good, guys. A couple announcements here real quick. Just a quick reminder, we are having every morning, I'm having what I'm calling coffee talk. Think of it as the office break room, but since we're all virtual, we're not in the office. So I know sometimes it's a little isolating and lonely to be sitting in your office, four walls, and nobody to talk to. So this is not required by any means, but anybody that wants to just pop on, it's come and go as you please. If you want to jump on for 30 minutes, if you want to jump on for 3 minutes, doesn't matter to me. Every morning at 8:30 and 10:30 Central. 8:30 and 10:30 Central. Do your own time conversions because I am the world's worst at time conversions. And I guarantee you I'll screw it up for you because I do it for myself all the time when I'm having to jump on other calls across the country. So 8:30, 10:30 Central, Monday through Thursday. We've been putting out announcements on the, there's a different Zoom room that we're doing that on. And so just keep an eye out. I'll keep posting that up from time to time. Just, make sure you capture that announcement. And then if you want to, again, not required. There's no agenda. We don't have any talking points. There's, if I have somebody that jumps on, if I have 100 people jump on, we'll just chit chat and kind of, shoot the breeze a little bit, talk about business, talk about personal life. Anyway, just an opportunity to connect. Want to remind you to make that available. That's still new. We just started that last week. So if you haven't got that on your radar, you want to plug into that, have meant to, but just haven't, then feel free to pop in and hang out with us. We are having, again, I mentioned the main agency hierarchy call will be immediately after this. Well, not immediately, because we're going to try to wrap this up and give everybody a little bit of time, kind of catch the breath, catch up on some to-dos before the next call. That will be 11 o'clock Central, 12 Eastern. Coming up here. So, and I'll post that up on, we didn't do a good job of highlighting that this week. So apologies on that. That's on my end, but I'll throw that graphic up on the crew. So make sure you pop in and grab that if you want to jump on that call. So, guys, if you've been watching the announcements coming from the Pogue agency, they're at the top of our hierarchy, our family tree, so to speak. Then you've seen February 4th. So next week, February 4th, there will be a awards banquet. Highly suggest. In fact, you need to be on that call. I won't suggest. Just tell you, block out some time, get on that call. The owners of the company are going to be on that call. We're going to have some special guests. They're going to be highlighting some things going on in the business. Obviously, some awards for the previous year for some top performers. But man, it's a great opportunity to really see what's going on in the company, but in our hierarchy, and see some of the top performers and hear from those people on what they're doing to win in this business. And that's key. If you want to get better yourself, you've got to be around the people who are performing at a top level. So make sure you plug into that and be a part of that call. And last but not least, on announcements, conference, guys, conference coming up in March, and I meant to grab those dates before I jumped on the call. We'll post that up in the crew, but get signed up for conference, guys. And here's the thing, this is a virtual conference. So in the past, for those of you who are brand new, we all jumped on planes, we traveled across the country, we spent a ton of money, we blocked time out, actually got out of the field, and it was a significant investment to get to conference. We've been in Raleigh, we've been in DC. We've been in other places throughout the years, and this year, obviously, the new environment we're in. Let's look at the bright side. I'd love to be together with all of you, and so that was the cool thing about conference. We got a chance to hang out. Well, this year we're not going to hang out, at least at the first part of the year. Hopefully, later in the year we'll be able to. But the nice thing about it is we have conference coming up in March, guys. This event. And we stress it so much, and you probably get tired of hearing it, but those of us who've been around, I've been around for 5 years. I see it every cycle. Every time we have one of these training events, the big training events where we're hearing from the top performers in the company and we're drinking from a water hose, we see numbers go up dramatically across the board. Doesn't matter if it's a brand new agent or a seasoned veteran or an established agency or a brand new agency. Numbers jump. Typically by anywhere from 40 to 60%. So somebody that's writing 10,000 is all of a sudden writing 15,000. An agency doing 100,000 all of a sudden goes to 150,000. I mean, it's just over the next 90 days, we just see those index up. So if you're serious about this business, if you're here, you want to improve and increase your success, or you want to get successful, if you feel like you're spinning your wheels, you have to be on this, and there's no excuses. In the past, we kind of argue back and forth. Well, I can't afford it. We're finding a way to afford it. I mean, we talk and we're blue in the face trying to get you there. Now, what's your excuse? You can't click a button? I mean, that's it. That's it. You click a button, you get on, you learn, you grow your business. If you can't do that, I'm going to be very blunt. I mean, some of these recruiters on here, they get a little nervous when I say this, but if you can't do that, if you're not going to be there, I suggest you leave the business. And I mean that wholeheartedly, because you cannot win here without training, and you're going to get the highest level training at that event. So don't miss it. There are zero excuses this year. No budget, no time constraints. Block your time off. Don't schedule appointments. We're giving you plenty of advance notice. It's March. So if you're setting appointments in March, you're already doing fundamentally wrong things anyway. So that's a different conversation. But be there. Do not.
Yes, the 24th and 25th, Chris.
Oh, awesome. Thank you for looking that up. Yeah, I meant to.
Yeah, and I'll echo that as well. And and I don't mind ruffling feathers, because either you're going to be committed to your forever or you're not. And the point is, if you're not going to be at that conference, do us all a favor and go ahead and jump off the Zoom meeting now and go find a job, because you're not going to make it here. I'm just dead serious. If you're committed to your forever and you think that you don't need to be in those kinds of events, if you're the smartest, sharpest, most successful person in your spheres of influence, in your circle, you don't have a sphere of influence. You have a cage. You have to put yourself in a position where you can get around other people that are where you want to go. And where in the hell are you going to go that you're going to have people who have significantly deep 6 and even 7-figure residual incomes, who've been exactly where you are right now, who are doing this to the highest level, who are willing to jump on a free Zoom call and tell you everything of what you need to do in order to be successful? The only excuse you wouldn't be on there is you're afraid of the fact that it's actually on you now to determine your success, and you can't blame anybody else. I can assure you, you will gain so much from that conference, and it will mitigate your learning curve so much. It will cut 6 to 8 months off of your learning curve. I promise you, just by being there, because you're going to hear and see and experience things from other people that are going to be calling directly to your spirit and what you need to hear at that moment. And if you aren't that committed to what you're wanting to accomplish here, I don't even know what else to tell you, because your fight and your why, your commitment has to be stronger than your excuses and your quit. And do us all a favor and do it early, meaning quit if you're not committed to yourself. If you are committed to yourself, like most of the people on this call, and I'm talking to the people that aren't, and hopefully there aren't any on this call, so I'm speaking on talking to deaf ears. If you're serious about what you want to do in this business, make sure you're on the award ceremony next week to see what other people are doing on this journey for the Pogue hierarchy. Make sure you're registering for the national conference in March. I don't know where I would be right now in this business if I didn't plug in and submit and commit 100% to this. Could I get there? I mean, probably, but not in the condensed timeline that I've done it, because I plugged in. You've got to be smart enough to get the hell out of your own way mentally sometimes. Let other people help you who genuinely want you to be successful pour into you, but you have to be open to that. So, I just wanted to add to that, Chris, because I know sometimes, the problem is people who come here new come from corporate environments where you've had, some kind of a conference, and it's just a, it's a boondoggle. It's just nonsense where you go there and everybody's hobnobbing, it's politics, and it's just, you got to go because you got to go. And you can't wait to get the hell out of there, because it's just nonsense. It's a bunch of talking heads talking to you about the goals and the numbers and this and that and the other, right? This ain't that. I promise you. This is directly to impact your forever. So commit to yourself. Make sure you get registered for this thing, and make sure you take this serious. And that means everything. The training calls, the team calls like today, the national calls. There's so much you're going to get every single day. If you want to get where you want to go and get there fast, plug in. I'm sorry, Chris. Go ahead, brother.
No, I appreciate it. I'm glad you shared. That is highly important. Oh, and I forgot to tell you guys, I made a call. I called a buddy of mine who's going to be on it. Matthew McConaughey. I worked it out. He's going to be there. So that's a little icing on the cake. We want you there for the training. But I called Matthew and he said, yeah, no problem. Anytime for you, man. So there you go. You're welcome. All right, let's get to some content here. Miss Stella Dinwiddie, go ahead and mute yourself. Guys, here's the thing about, a lot of you are here because you want success. You want to be able to pay your bills and do so at more than pay your bills and, make great money. And we could do that on the sales side, but the long-term wealth is really building an agency, building something bigger than yourself, because I love what Marshall talks about, Marshall Whalen, very top of the company, the very top guy in the company, started with this company in the early days. And he talked about, he could go out and help, 5, 10 families a week. But once he found a team and built an organization, a sales organization, he was helping, at first, 50 families a week, and then 100 families a week, now hundreds, now thousands of families every week are being impacted by what he's doing. And one of the things that we all miss, myself included, is there are low-hanging fruits in the sales organization building game. So in other words, there are people that we are running into literally every day, several times a day, who want and need this opportunity, maybe just to make a little extra money, just to pay the bills. Maybe they have a dream like you have, and that's they want to build something big and massive. And guys, if you can get just 3 or 4 people around you with that same vision, that's where you see a Marshall Whalen, an Edward Pritchett, a Jacob Pogue, a Scott Mank. That's where these things take off and have a life of their own. So Stella, talk to me a little bit about what are you doing? And so just to kind of throw a quick hint in here, Stella is great in the home on the sales side, but she has a process that she goes through, because one of the things that we're missing on recruiting is actually our clients. So Stella, talk to us a little bit about what are your thoughts on recruiting in the home?
Sure, absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you so much. It's such an honor. Let me turn my phone off. I'm sorry. It's such an honor to be here. Because when you called me and said, hey, will you talk about recruiting in the home? Because you know that I do that consistently. Part of me thought, well, I'm not an expert. Like, how am I gonna, I'm not an expert. And, all these things I thought, well, how can I, really be effective? What can I do to help anybody else, out there who either wants to grow a business, maybe because you want to do it because the reason that I wanted to do it. And that was for the longest time, every month I wanted to make my promotion, and the months that I struggled because I had other things happening and I was trying to build and I didn't see it. There was one day that was a game changer that Chris said, once you invest, more into building, Stella, the people that you have on your team, whatever they write is going to help you make your next promotion. And, we hear that all the time, but for whatever reason, that day in that moment, it just something in my head clicked. And in what he, basically what he's saying is that in order for me to, achieve my other bigger goals down the road, you need help. And so I, really started to run my wheels a little faster in that direction. And so what I do, to answer your question, when I'm in the home at the very end, I have a consistent pattern. And so if I could give any advice to any of you out there in your homes, at the very end, there's a number of steps that I do. One, I will always ask them, were you happy with my services today? And they're always going to say yes, because you just help them, and I'll say, thank you so much. The best compliment I can ever receive is a referral. And then I go in and I'll talk about that. And then I go into, hey, well, you saw how I helped you today. You saw what it took. And, I understand that, I can see that you folks find value in what we did today. You probably know, other people that, excuse me, sorry, I'm going off on the wrong track. Tell them, do you, right now, there's a lot of people out of work. So, are you, you probably know people who, are out of work right now. I have a ton of families that I can't get to myself, and we're currently hiring. So if you know of anybody that, can help somebody, in the same way that I helped you, you see, it's a real labor of love. If you know anybody like that wants to make $2,000 or $3,000 extra a month part-time, let me know, because we're hiring, and I'll be happy to help them and show them how to be able to do that. And so I add that every single time in every one at the very end. A lot of times they'll come back and, say, yeah, me, I'm interested. And then we take that conversation. A lot of times they don't, or they might say, I don't know anybody, or they might tell me, oh yeah, my niece, she's out of work, or somebody else. But here's the thing that I'll tell you is just be consistent. Just be consistent. And you have to think of it as long-term. You have to, through the process, you have to concentrate on your activity, not on the results, because you don't see those results. Some people I didn't even hear back from until a couple of months later. I've been here for about a month and a half. My first month here was in April 2019. So in April of 2021, in about 4 more months, it'll be a full 2 years. But I didn't really start doing this until about a year ago. And what I want to encourage you with is some really cool epiphanies that I had in thinking about this, because I'm like, why is he asking me? I'm not an expert again, and I'm not a big deal, but I was like, you know what? I'll be darned. Out of all my writers, so here's the other thing I'm going to tell you. You have to have goals, because you have to have a target. If you don't have a target, you're going to just be shooting blanks, right? So for me, I knew I had to have 6 writers to become agency owner. That was my goal. I had to have 6 writers, and I had to have 30,000 issue paid. I love your dog, Mark. But seriously, so I knew that I could write 30,000 myself, because I've done it. But I had to have 6 people consistently 3 months in a row writing. Well, I'll be darned, half of my 6 writers were people that I met in the home. And some of these people, they're just now breaking out. They're just now getting it. They're just now breaking out. Some of them left because of, maybe some personal reasons, whatever. Just like John Paul, and you hear Chris talking about how, some people are going to make it, some people won't. And that's okay. There's no judgment. But it just happens. So half of those writers at any given month were people that I met in the home. One of them, I hope you don't mind me saying, is Dave. I love this guy, Dave Rohn. And there's Shayna. There's a different Shayna. She's no longer here with us, but she wrote business in one of those months that I needed 6 writers. A third person was Tasia. Love her so much. And she wrote, and she's with us, and she's getting ready to break out again. She was a person, I helped her and her partner, in her home. And those are 3 people. Half of my writers over those 3-month period were people that I met while helping them in the home. And sometimes you don't even, have to help them. Like Dave and I had a great conversation. I loved him and his wife. They're amazing, just a wonderful couple. And we're sitting there talking, and Dave's like, hey, I really starts asking, he starts telling me about his background and how he, was, in charge of, thousands of people and IBM something, executive president, and he knows, people, and wow, he starts telling me how he enjoyed our conversation and how, he would have loved to have people like me on his team. And it was very complimentary. And I'm not boasting about myself, but I just, these are the conversations. And so so I started telling him, well, gosh, I loved what he said. And I started telling him about, well, this is what I do. And then before we knew it, his ears are perking up, and he's like, tell me more, and he wanted to know about it. So I'm like, yeah, I start telling about the opportunity, and it's, very simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. And so he hopped on board. And, I just really would love to encourage you, if there's anything that you can, get from all this, is it's your mindset. So I'm always listening to their why, right? Because we all know the why is the biggest reason for everything. If any of you were on Jacob Pogue's call yesterday, he talked about that, and maybe you were like me and him in the very, very beginning. I was super excited, about this opportunity, and I was out there telling everybody else, oh, you should do this, it's great, blah, blah, blah. Well, that's not the way to do it. It wasn't until I understood, just as I needed to understand why I was helping people with mortgage protection, and that was most important, not because of what I told them why it was important, but because of why they told me why it was important. In that same respect was with recruiting. If you listen to people's why, if they have a big enough why, maybe they want to stay at home, maybe they've got a big old huge financial crisis like I did coming in here, maybe they want to spend more time with their family, they're traveling all the time, there's a bunch of different whys out there. Maybe they want to own their own business. I had a great conversation with someone this last week who wants to have their own business and are frustrated. So you listen to their why, and once you hear their why, that's where it gives you the opportunity to be able to connect with them and let them know, the opportunity here, and tell them, happened to me again this last week. I always save it for the end. I'm never going to talk to them in the middle of helping them with mortgage protection, because I want to be the person that helps them with, writing their policy, right? And after we take care of their policy, then, I'm going to let them know about the opportunity. So that's important to know. But, just having that mindset, always listening for their why. That's what I do. The other thing is, you can write this down. So first, know their why. You got to know their why. You're not going to go very far without their why. And then 2, be consistent, because you don't see your results up front. Sometimes you don't see it till months later. Another example, I know we're talking about in the home, but Destiny, man, that girl's amazing. And her fiance, I worked with him, and I was talking to him. She's another one on my team of writers that, without these people, I would not be an agency owner today. I would not be able to be celebrating any of this without Dave, Tasia, Destiny, Shayna, all these people. And other people too, but I'm just talking about, I'm only focusing on who I met in the home and who I met through my warm market. So, it's such a big piece of it. And these people they're just breaking out. So I'm really excited about that. But so just be consistent. And you have to think long-term, concentrate on the activity, not the results. So at the end of the week, you may feel like you're not seeing any results. It's okay. So what? Same thing with, helping families. There's going to be some weeks that, you sit with, 5 or 7 people and you don't help them, but that doesn't mean that you're not good at it. I sat with 5 people in one day last Monday, and I didn't help anybody. And so, this week, and so I know I'll write some more business today. I know that because, I'll pick it up where I got to back up, where I have to pick up at. But the other thing that I would encourage you is, if you have bigger long-term goals, write those down and just celebrate that activity. So, at the end of the day, did I ask all the people that I was sitting with, did I talk to them about it? Did I cover those 4 R's? And those are, recruiting, Rugrats. Do you got any grandchildren or anybody like that could benefit from this? And then there's retirement. Like John Paul was talking about how he's seen all of this, return come in. Don't forget, man, ask those questions on those quality questions. That's huge. I'm not seeing anything right now, but when people talk about it, I'll go through that quality client sheet. And then the last are recruiting, Rugrats, retirement. What's the fourth R?
Referrals.
Referrals. Thank you. And I go through that. You heard me go through that. I know that was a long-winded answer, but I just really want to make sure that you all know that you will reap the rewards of your effort, but you might not see it right up front. But if you just are consistent, just stay at it. Kind of same thing as like dieting. You know, if you cut out that extra fat or sugar or whatever it is in your diet because you're trying to lose weight, you're not going to see it week 1 or week 2 or week 3. You know, and I'm looking. You know, it takes time to be able to finally, you know, get to that goal. And then after 3 months, all of a sudden, people are looking at you going, "Oh my gosh, wow, did you lose weight?" You know, and you haven't been paying attention to it. All you've been doing is focusing on your habits, because your habits are so huge. And part of that habit is your mindset. Yeah, you know, let all the weeds get in and tell you that, oh, I don't see anything happening. You know, this doesn't work. This doesn't work for me. You know, I'm not good at it. You know, you got to tell that voice to shut the hell up. And you got to, you know, make sure that you feed your mind daily. Because in this business, you hear it all the time across the board from me.
And then how do I do it again? Do I take a picture?
Oh, so yeah, you know, it's a mindset. It's a constant mindset every single day. And it's a mindset going in there, your belief, because your belief in what you can do is going to translate in how you talk to those people and how you talk about the opportunity, your belief in yourself. So, I mean, I would say top of the list, mindset, belief, be consistent, and just, you know, have your goals. Because if you don't have goals, you're just going to be walking aimlessly, you know, think long term.
So I love that, Stella, and we're going to wrap up here in about 2 or 3 minutes. But let me ask you a couple quick questions, because to put this into perspective, how many people do you talk to in a week? So in other words, you know, what's your schedule look like? How many appointments are you setting, and how many people are you talking to?
When you ask how many people I'm talking to, do you mean people that I'm sitting with mortgage protection or recruit?
Right.
Or mortgage
Yeah,
protection?
mortgage. Yeah, how many mortgage protection appointments are you wanting to run every week?
Well, my goal is 2025. I've been struggling to do that recently with the change in my schedule, but I'll get back there. But on an average, you know, like 10 to 15.
Right. So, and the reason I bring it up is because in Stella's great about this, 20 to 25 appointments. Now, she just broke out as agency owner, so she's discovering that her roles are changing a little bit. She's got a lot more on her plate now as an agency owner. So, but she's still doing a great job getting her activity in. The point being, when she sets 20 to 25 appointments, not all those people are going to show up, number one, so expectations. But number two, she gets 10 to 15 people she's in front of. And the reason I bring this up is she's asking that question 10 to 15 times a week. That's key, guys. Number one, you got to have the activity to be successful. So if you're not getting there, you tell me you're a full-time agent and you're not getting that level of activity in, well, you're going to struggle. Number one. Number two, if you're wanting to build an agency, here's the thing that's very it's easy to miss this, because on the sales side, I can jump on the phone this morning, have appointments this afternoon, and have apps in by tonight. It's bang, bang, bang. Okay, it's quick. You know, it's instant gratification, as instant as it can be. On the recruiting building side, guys, this is a long haul. This is a cycle. So conversations I'm having today, I likely will not see results from for at least 90 days minimum. Sometimes it's 6 months to a year. And people don't get that. I say it over and over again, but it doesn't click. And that's the reason why we see people start recruiting or do a little bit of activity, do it for maybe a month and say, well, this doesn't work. I'm going to scale back. I'm going to focus on production, or it's just too hard. You haven't even got into the process. So if you'll notice, what Stella is doing is 10 to 15 times a week, she's asking a question. Now, does that mean she's getting 10, 15 people in the pipeline? No, it doesn't. She may get 1 or 2 people in the pipeline, but she's doing that drip, 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 week in, week out, until she's got, you know, a pipeline of people that, and some that have come through and become writers. So that's crucial. Now, the other thing, Stella, and this is why I love having you on and having you highlight, you'll notice she's going through this, and this is what she does every time. She just rattled off the 4 R's, and she's doing that every time, every home. So this is a huge piece about this business. It's really not so much about how good you are, or that you're the super slick salesperson with the silver tongue that can sell ice to Eskimos. That's not what this business is about. This business, I guarantee you, bottom line, is about consistency. I will take somebody who's consistent over somebody who's talented any day, because, you know, the old saying is hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And man, we see that way too many times in this business. Somebody that's really good, you know, they're really good communicator. They've had a ton of success. They've kind of, you know, there's kind of the golden touch, if you will, but they come into a business like this and they flame out very quickly because they try to rely on that talent and they don't work hard. I'll take somebody that has zero background, and Stella, you know, not to say anything against Stella, because Stella's been very accomplished in her career in other areas, but not in this area. But one thing that she did is she came in and she outworked everybody. I mean, she just came in and just flat out put in more activity than anybody, and you see the fruits of that. Now, we didn't see the fruits of that in the first month or the first 3 months, or maybe, I mean, but we saw it progress, and it started to get better and better. And so I wanted to highlight, because Stella is the poster child for consistency. And I love the fact that she brought up, I asked these questions in every home. Guys, if you just get in the habit of doing that, ask those questions. And so that's why I said, you know, this is the low-hanging fruit. Not that it means you're going to ask questions this week and all of a sudden you're going to have a massive team, you're going to be running for AO. That's not going to happen. But you're going to start planting those seeds. And at some point, one of those seeds is going to sprout out of the ground. And who knows, you may find that seed that you know, 6 months, a year, 2 years later, all of a sudden becomes a huge tree in the forest of your agency. You know, that's the backbone of your agency. But that doesn't happen without consistency. You know, so it's like you know, the old saying that luck that meets preparation. You know, so some people say, well, you're lucky that you found that person. Well, yeah, you're lucky, but you made your own luck by doing the same activities over and over again. And luck can't happen unless you're putting it out there. You know, I mean, yeah, can you just accidentally stumble into somebody that comes up and says, what do you do? Oh, I sell insurance and I want to build an agency. Well, sign me up. Could that happen? Yeah, but you know, has that happened? I'm not sure if I can think of a story in Symmetry where that's actually happened. So, so you got to be intentional. So, guys, yeah.
Sorry, I was just going to say, I don't take any offense to you talking about my struggles, because many of you here were not a part of that huge struggle that I had in the beginning. Chris has heard me cry with joy just because I didn't realize my milestones that I met, because I struggled so hard in the very beginning. So that's all I was going to tell you. Sorry.
Yeah, and the important part about that is, yeah, she struggled, but she kept coming back and she worked even harder. And too many times I see people that struggle and then don't even quit. The thing is, they struggle, they just, and then they just keep struggling because they won't work harder. You know, it's almost, you'd almost be better off either just quitting or working hard or make the decision. Instead, they just keep struggling and muddle along, trying to do the same thing over and over again, hoping to get better results. So if you're struggling, the only way to get off that bubble is either work harder or get out. That's it.
Chris, I just wanted to chime in one additional thing, and I think this will resonate with so many people, but specifically with Stella, because I shared this many times on our crew, and I've posted this, you know, and it's just so powerful. And I've shared this, and I know it's going to mean, you know, a great deal to Stella. you know, but it will mean so much to so many other people on the call right now. And that is this, and to Stella, I told you once before, one day you'll get a chance to tell your story of what you went through and how you struggled, and it'll become part of someone else's survival guide, right? And that's what's happened. It's come full circle. People are able to see what you went through, and they can take from those experiences and that learning for you to share with them, so they can know that they're not alone in this. And it's not easy. It is difficult. It is challenging, you know, and there are going to be times where you're going to question what you're doing. But I've said many times, your fight and your why has to be stronger than your quit and your excuses. And so proud of you in what you've accomplished here. And hopefully your story and what you share with other people, they'll, if you can mute your line there, if you're on the call. But the point is, the other people hearing what you've come through is so powerful, you know, because a lot of people are going through the same struggles and same adversity. So proud of you, girl.
Thank you, John Paul. Thanks. Well, I've learned so much from all of you here. Like, I'm just so grateful, so blessed. Like, it's been an amazing journey. And I just, yeah, you guys said something that I just want to highlight. Don't give up, you know, don't give up. You know, everybody goes through their struggles. And probably the hardest thing about what we do is because we have to rely on ourselves to push ourselves. It's not like we just clock in, you know, somewhere and let someone else tell us what to do. So yeah, that's what I would, you know, and if I could just, one thing I wanted to share real quick was I wrote it down, and gosh darn it, I don't know where I put it at. I have so many things written down. Anyways, I'm just so grateful. Oh, here it is. So within every problem, here's a quote. I didn't think of this, but within every problem or obstacle lies the seed of an equal or greater opportunity or benefit. It's your job to find it.
Awesome. Love it. Guys, we're going to wrap up the call a few minutes early. We kind of went a little longer than I thought we might, but that's okay. We got some great content, and hopefully that will impact your business for the positive. We're going to jump off, give everybody a few minutes to kind of catch their breath, potty breaks, and get some drink, and then join us on the Make Hierarchy call here in a few minutes. I just posted the crew, so if you need that link, hop on and grab that, and we will see you over on the Make Hierarchy call here in a few minutes.
Thank you.
Appreciate you all. Thank you.